For decades, we've all been asking that same big question, right? Are we alone? And it's usually met with a ton of speculation, endless debate, and, let's be honest, a lot of really grainy footage. But what if the problem isn't a lack of evidence? What if the real issue is our very framework for understanding it? Okay, let's dive into a perspective that actually tries to build that framework, drawing directly from the position papers of Dr. Stephen Greer. Dr. Greer really frames the whole problem with this powerful statement. He basically argues that the real mystery isn't the UFOs or the aliens themselves. It's our collective inability to just engage with the topic seriously. This whole perspective suggests the problem isn't out there in the stars, but right here, inside us, in our fundamental grasp of reality. So the foundation of this entire approach, it really rests on a pretty bold claim. The evidence for extraterrestrial visitation isn't just there. It's completely overwhelming and has been for a long, long time. It's not about finding a single smoking gun. It's about acknowledging a room that's already full of them. Now, what's really incredible is just the sheer volume of data we're talking about here. I mean, think about it. Over 3,500 reports from military and commercial pilots, a lot of them with radar to back it up. Then there are more than 4,000 cases where physical traces were supposedly left behind by landed craft. We've got hundreds of instances where cars, electronics, and equipment were affected, and that's all before we even get to the photos, the videos, the witness testimony, or the direct contact claims. It's a lot. And just to put a number on it, the source material points to polls that suggest something like 25 million Americans believe they've seen a UFO at close range. We're talking close enough to see its structure. The argument here is that this is not some fringe experience. It's a widespread, massively underreported phenomenon. And that right there brings us to the core question. If even a tiny fraction of this is real, why is the whole topic still so bogged down in confusion and ridicule? Well, the source suggests a really fascinating reason. It's because our current scientific paradigm, our very blueprint for reality, it's just not built to handle what we're seeing. So the proposed solution isn't about finding more evidence, but about building a whole new model of the cosmos. A new cosmology, if you will, designed to actually make room for phenomena that our current physics just can't seem to explain. This is where we shift from just looking at stuff to building a new theory. So here's the crucial idea. It's this proposed dualism. On one hand, you've got linear reality. That's the physical world we know, with time, space, and matter we can measure. You can think of it as the hardware of the universe. But coexisting with it, and this is key, is a non-local reality. This is a universal, transcendent realm of pure consciousness that isn't stuck in time or space. This is like the software or the operating system for all of reality, and it's presented as the source of things like telepathy and remote viewing. This model lays out a fascinating hierarchy for how reality actually comes into being. It starts with what's called the absolute mind, which is basically a single, universal consciousness. From that, the causal realm of pure thought emerges. Then that gives rise to the astral realm of visual thought forms. And here's the kicker. Only from that does our familiar, physical, material universe actually emerge. So in this view, matter, the solid stuff, is a downstream product of consciousness. And if that's true, it changes literally everything we think we know. And this really drives home a key takeaway. If everything is built on these finer, non-local layers of reality, then the term interdimensional isn't some weird, exotic sci-fi thing. It's fundamental. In this cosmology, you, me, ETs, even the rocks on the ground, we're all inherently interdimensional because we all exist across these different layers of reality at the same time. Okay, so if this cosmic architecture is real, you'd expect it to have some pretty profound implications for technology, right? Especially for any civilization that's figured out how to travel between the stars. I mean, think about it. Traveling 1,000 light years at the speed of light would take, well, 1,000 years. It's just not practical. The papers argue that any star-faring civilization must have figured out tech that operates beyond the crossing point of light, a sort of theoretical barrier where the rules of our linear reality just stop applying, letting them bypass all those limitations. This leads to a really mind-bending technological concept, consciousness-assisted technology, or CAT for short. This is where consciousness literally plugs directly into a machine. The source gives this great example of an ET just thinking a command to their ship, and the ship just does it. It's technology that's built to operate right at that intersection where mind meets matter. And of course, there's the other side of that coin, technology-assisted consciousness, or tech. This is where the tech gives the mind a boost. The classic example is a system that allows for crystal clear, instantaneous telepathic communication across galaxies. We're not talking about radio waves. We're talking about technology that works with the non-local nature of thought itself. So, if this cosmology is the theory and this wild tech is the result, what's the practical application for us? I mean, how can we humans use these principles to actually go out and initiate contact? This is exactly where the idea of CE5 comes into play. A close encounter of the fifth kind, or CE5, is defined as a contact that is human-initiated, and that is a huge distinction. This isn't about sitting back and passively watching the skies with some binoculars. Nope, it's a proactive protocol, a method designed to establish peaceful, cooperative communication by using the very principles of this new cosmology. The protocol itself is pretty much a step-by-step application of everything we've just talked about. First, a group of people get together and access a state of collective, non-local consciousness. Then they use that state to remote view and find an ET craft out there somewhere. The next step is to consciously connect to the ship's CAT systems and then vector it in. Basically, you send it a mental GPS coordinate to your exact location. And finally, you just remain open and wait to receive a response. So in the end, this entire model, from the piles of evidence to the new cosmology to the actual contact protocol, it completely reframes the search for ETs. It suggests that the key to unlocking the universe might not be found by building bigger telescopes to look out, but by developing the tools to look in. And that is a truly provocative thought to end on.